Hello, welcome back to my channel. This is episode 22 of the January 2021 edition of The Light, a Truth Paper, orated by myself, a link to which can be found in the description. And it's a full-page article in this episode in the economy section. And the article is entitled The Impact of 2020 on the Travel and Tourism Industry by Jeff Dykes. In 2019, travel and tourism contributed $8.9 trillion to the world's GDP, creating 330 million jobs, 1 in every 10. But the travel industry has always been highly susceptible to world events. Thus, it is no stranger to fighting for its survival and finding solutions to weather each storm. COVID has been catastrophic for many countries where tourism has been their main source of revenue. The 1 in 330 million article linked at the end illustrates this well. No one would have expected that by the end of the year the disruption to air, sea and rail travel would have resulted in Manchester and Heathrow airports both announcing the closure of terminals throughout 2021, the scrapping of redundant cruise ships, and the increasing likelihood of rail renationalisation. Airlines have been forced to re-evaluate their operating model, and many have chosen to retire their jumbo jets as no longer economically viable. Out of 492 Boeing 747s in existence today, over two-thirds are used for freight, and of the remaining 157 commercial passenger jets, just 35 are currently in service. Similarly, the Airbus A380, which only entered service in October 2007, is no longer in production, and of the 251 manufactured, only 18 are flying, and 5 of those belong to China Southern Airlines. Whilst scrapping a 40-year-old 747 could be expected, the same treatment of a 13-year-old A380 would ordinarily be unheard of. Yet several have already been scrapped, whilst many others, along with their Boeing counterpart, are being stored in aircraft graveyards around the world whilst their owners debate their fate. Those airlines still able to fly have been handicapped considerably by the ever-changing restrictions and travel corridors, whilst others, impacted by the dramatic drop in demand for air travel, have welcomed the recent news that their fleets of Boeing 737-800 MAX aircraft can once more take to the skies following the 2 fatal incidents in 2018 which grounded the type. Redundant aircrew, especially experienced pilots, have effectively been faced with early retirement, with reports from Australia of some becoming bus drivers. Cruise lines, enjoying tremendous growth prior to March, saw their market disappear almost completely, with a record 34 ships being sold, at least 10 of which have been scrapped. Today's modern mega cruise ships cost up to $1 billion to build and would normally be retired after around 40 years. Yet ships half that age have been sold to specialised scrapyards in Turkey and India for around $4 million a time. There are currently over 300 cruise ships plying the world's oceans, with another 30 set to have been launched in 2020. Of those that were actually launched, Richard Branson's first ever vessel for his new, rather ill-timed Virgin Voyages venture, and P&O's 5,200 passenger, 180,000 ton ship, which runs on liquefied natural gas, have yet to commence their cruising operations in the Caribbean and Mediterranean respectively. A large percentage of people working on cruise ships in the crew capacity are typically from developing world countries, with their meagre income, boosted by tips, being sent home to support their families. Many of these have been left stranded on board ships that are anchored in safe harbours around the world. Here in the UK, Weymouth Bay attracted thousands of sightseers to the magnificent spectacle of up to a dozen huge cruise ships. And 2 months ago it was estimated that as many as 400,000 crew find themselves in this unacceptable situation. Meanwhile, the mothballed aircraft and cruise ships themselves have to be maintained and modified for re-entry into service in compliance with health and safety guidelines that differ from country to country. Inconsistencies in these same guidelines permit an aircraft to carry a full load of passengers, whilst rail and bus operators, here in the UK at least, have had to block off seats to ensure social distancing, with the attendant loss in revenue and reduced schedules reflecting the dramatic drop in demand. Rail operators, like their airline counterparts, are equally dependent on business travel, which has dried up considerably and been replaced by online meetings facilitated by technology. Car rental companies rely as much on business travellers as they do on holidaymakers. Hertz was forced to file for bankruptcy in the USA and Canada at the end of May, as the business lost all its revenue and amassed debts of more than £15 billion, with the majority of its branches closed during the pandemic. Rival US firm Avis posted a $158 million loss in the first quarter of 2020. That's equivalent to £127 million. Warning of an $800 million or £643 million cash burn between April and June. The hotel sector has fared no better, with MGM Hotels losing $535 million and choosing to open their flagship Las Vegas properties only at weekends. In New York City, it is reckoned that as much as 20% of their hotel rooms will be closed permanently. Over the past 4 decades, the travel industry has reaped the benefits of incredible demand for foreign travel, fueled by many factors, and leading to fierce competition between airlines, tour operators, cruise lines, hoteliers, and even tourist boards, all eager to attract new customers and retain existing ones. A healthy percentage of these customers had been seniors, with both the disposable income and appetite for regular trips. Consequently, with their higher susceptibility to infection, this market contracted immediately, and here in the UK, by May it had led to the collapse of the UK's largest coach tour operation, comprising the long-established brands of Shearings, National and Wallace Arnold, with debts of over £200 million, resulting in the loss of 2,500 jobs and 64,000 cancelled peak season holiday bookings. Their purpose-built interchange at Stretton, near Warrington, has become a post-Brexit staging point for Irish sea freight traffic. Freight traffic has increased significantly as a result of the explosion in online shopping and has helped the ferry operators keep afloat, pun intended, albeit their losses are unsustainable in the long term. Of course, business adapts. With the onset of the first lockdown, travel agents around the world had to set about modifying and cancelling millions of bookings. A recent report from the UBS Investment Bank has found that the COVID-19 pandemic could accelerate the shift of passengers from air to rail, supercharging growth across the next decade, predicting that global air traffic growth will drop from 5.1% to 4.6% over 2018 to 2028. With recovery to pre-2020 levels not expected until at least 2023. The company also estimates that there will be approximately 800 more high-speed trains in operation in Europe within the next decade, while 196 fewer planes will be required. The report went on to say there is likely to be a boom in rail travel, as has been the case in China, where domestic tourism was the first to benefit post-pandemic. Regional travel then looks like the next beneficiary, as passengers look to travel to neighbouring destinations rather than further afield. In the short term, rail travel will likely experience an upturn as travellers venture domestically and to neighbouring destinations once restrictions are lifted, says global data travel and tourism analyst Johanna Bonhill-Smith. A boom in rail travel may be possible as this offers a middle ground between expensive flights and slow travel by sea. Looking in the long term, however, once sufficient measures are put in place, it is likely that air travel will resume, causing pent-up demand amongst certain age groups. Travel businesses around the world have been using the hiatus to enhance and adapt their offerings to the new marketplace that will inevitably emerge, and those that survive can look forward to consumers eager to enjoy new experiences, whilst playing an important role in reversing the environmental damage that has so often resulted from mass tourism. New generation aircraft from both Boeing and Airbus, along with new cruise ships, have all been designed to reduce their environmental impact, whilst improving the customer comfort, and people will undoubtedly be eager to enjoy the experience aboard these planes and ships. The tourism offices will play a key role in the development of strategies designed to protect the significant contribution that the sector makes to their country's economy. A good example is that taken by Petra Roach, interim president and chief executive of the Barbados Tourism Authority in the UK and head of global markets, when she launched the Barbados Welcome Stamp initiative, which invited people working from home to move over there to do so. This move was the subject of a Channel 4 documentary, as it demonstrated the benefits both to the island economy and to those who took advantage of the scheme to live and work in what many would consider paradise. Similarly, the United Arab Emirates of Dubai has capitalised on its strategic location and massive investment in tourism by promoting the destination as an extremely safe place to visit. Emirates is the largest operator of the Airbus A380, ensuring sufficient capacity in line with the campaign and attracting those who still wish to experience the aircraft. Of course, the pent-up demand is already catered for by those customers whose faith in the industry has led to their accepting vouchers for future bookings rather than insisting on refunds. It is these very customers who have ensured the survival of many airlines and cruise lines, as are those consumers placing deposits for bookings as far ahead as 2022. And at the end of the article here, there's several different links to relevant sources of information. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed the article. Please like, share, subscribe, and until next time, take care. Bye-bye.